Hi, everyone. Today, let's talk about Fundrise's Innovation Fund. If you like investing and making money, definitely like and subscribe. I make videos like this every single week, so make sure you hit the bell so you don't miss out on any future episodes. Welcome to the Portfolio Bulletin. Let's get started. If you've been following my channel for a little bit, at this point you would know that Fundrise did launch an innovation fund, and they released a recent article talking about the different strategies that they plan to employ. They say here they want the innovation fund to invest in high-growth pre-IPO companies for several reasons. They want everyone to have access to these high-growth stocks and not just make them accessible to millionaires and billionaires the way that they are right now with venture capital and usually accredited investors. They also plan to have a long-term focus, and they want to invest in the best-performing assets. They're going to invest in growth and what they believe are the world's best technology-based companies that should be positioned to provide outsized growth. They also want to be able to invest in companies in their earliest stages because they believe that the companies that we used to be able to invest in back when Amazon, Microsoft, Google, and Facebook came out, those companies were pretty early accessible on the open market versus now where you have venture capital investing in a lot of these companies when they're private, and then once they go public, a lot of the growth has already happened, which does not provide the same opportunity to the individual investor that it used to. So the question that they wanted to answer here is, how exactly do they do that in a way that's accessible to everyone? And it's worth mentioning here that they do talk about this multiple times in their Onward podcast. The CEO of Fundrise talks to several venture capital individuals who have a lot of experience and who are helping mentor the Fundrise Fund. And definitely check out the Onward podcast if you want to know more information about their plan and their thesis with this innovation fund. They say, like a traditional venture capital fund, they plan to invest in high-growth, innovation technologies, but they're also going to use a more indexed approach. They aim to take about 20 bets or so, in the hopes that at least one of these bets will take off and be one of those 1,000% gainers or 10 to 1,000% growers, something like those home runs that you see in Uber or Amazon back in the day. Of course, you should know that venture capital is a pretty low winner type environment, so of course there will be some risk in this strategy. But as long as one or so of those 20 bets takes off, it should more than make up for the rest of them. They also plan to invest in companies in multiple stages of their life, so some of these will be those early tech companies that could certainly not pan out, go bankrupt, and not generate the kind of returns that we're hoping to see out of the innovation fund. They will also invest in some of those mid to later term companies that have already generated some of their strong growth and demonstrated a potential for profits and further growth. They also say that some of these investments will be over various terms, but the majority of them will be over the longer term. They also mentioned that they will not be charging a carried interest fee, and this is something that traditional venture capital does just to those ultra high worth investors that are traditionally investing in these venture capital type investments. That's just a way for these venture capital firms to make a little bit more money. And Fundrise plans to make their money, at least from this, in the growth of these companies versus taking the interest from the funds that are available. They also plan to use the best and most valuable technology-based companies in their investments with a focus on cloud that will deliver economy-level changes over the next several years. Despite their long-term strategies, they of course cannot ignore the unique economic environment that is currently happening, and that's going to impact how they invest at least over the short term. Of course, they don't want to fight the Fed, and they mention here that they believe that the economy is currently repricing and public stocks are coming down in valuation, and that this is a prelude to the extended bear market. So they're definitely being cautious, understanding what kind of market environment that they're in, and that's going to impact the kinds of businesses and what businesses they invest in, specifically with these innovation funds. They mentioned in their previous article, the Q3 investor update, that they see a high probability of recession in 2023. If you want to check out that video, definitely check the link above to see what they said in that article. This recession, of course, has a 1-2 punch that couldn't be deadly for private tech companies. Tech is highly dependent on growth, and the faster the rate of growth, the more likely the company is to be successful and even sustain itself without going bankrupt. So that's definitely a big impact in the type of companies that they want to invest in, and they need to ensure the quality of the companies before they put investor money into those positions. They say they expect the next 12 plus months to be extremely difficult for the industry, but of course not everything is all downward momentum. They say as the economy turns downwards, they expect investors, specifically institutional investors, to start freezing up their funds, and they expect groupthink to kind of take over and affect the amount of money that's available to these types of companies. And as a result, they think this is a good opportunity for us to start investing in companies over the next 10 to 20 years and provide money to these companies that would not receive money in a down economy from venture capital. They say if past downturns are any indication of what's yet to come, that companies will be looking for money and new capital partners in the down economy, again, giving Fundrise, as well as innovation fund investors such as myself, the ability to get into these companies for cheaper prices than they necessarily would have recently. They also mention here that the innovation fund was available first to the quote unquote inner circle of IPO investors, such as myself. And if you weren't able to get into that first allocation of the innovation fund, keep an eye out. I'm sure they will open it to more Fundrise investors in the future. But of course, it's not going to be open to everyone outside of Fundrise. So definitely make sure you're a Fundrise investor to give yourself the opportunity to invest in this fund if you have not done so already, and this fund does sound interesting to you. And of course, there is a link in the description that will help you get invested with Fundrise and give you your first $50 free, as well as waive your investor fees, at least for the first 3 months. I also want to highlight here they plan to release a more in-depth version of their investment strategies over the next few weeks to months. They also plan to announce the innovation's first couple investments within that window as well. So make sure you hit the bell so you don't miss out on any of those future updates on the Innovation Fund. For me personally, I did invest in the Innovation Fund to start, and I'm sure I will invest more money over time in that fund once they make it more available. They're doing it the same way that they did their IPO funds, where they do it on a specific schedule and they notify you about a week or two in advance, and then they open it for a short window until they sell all of the positions that they want to sell, and then they close it for another future event. So it is kind of specific and you do need to have some capital on the side available. It's not like a monthly investment or a traditional stock investment where you can just put money in over time the way that it is in even the rest of their e-REITs with Fundrise. Just another factor to keep in mind if you're planning to invest in the Innovation Fund going forward. Definitely comment down below what you think of Fundrise or what this Innovation Fund is going to mean for the markets or even for us as investors. Definitely like and subscribe if you got any value out of this video, and make sure you hit the bell so you don't miss out on any future episodes. Of course, none of this is financial advice. This is all for entertainment purposes, and have a great day.